If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey guys, welcome to Peer2Peer. My name is Jay, and on our show today we have the lovely Quinn. Quinn, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Jay. How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah,
Yeah, boy.
yeah, boy.
Oh man, so for my viewers, Quinn and I go way back. We met in college, right?
No, actually, we met when back when I was dating Casey, and we had actually visibly met when I was tagging along with her, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I just tagged along. I was just sitting there, just
Yeah, but I still kind of met you at college, right? Like Casey was working on a project or something.
yeah. It was at SOU. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Feels like 84 years since we've known each other.
It's been 84 years.
Jack. Oh god, okay. Okay, I swear it's gonna get serious, guys. It's not gonna be all crazy. I'm trying not to make it be so crazy. Oh man. Uh Quinn's just one of those charismatic people where you just feed off of the chaos. You can't help it.
I am just made for chaos. I'm an agent of chaos and I am an enabler. So
I can attest to the enabling.
yes.
Well, which brings me to my first question. um God damn. See, guys, like I told you, like it rubs off on you. So, what kind of experiences have you had with mental health?
So have dealt with a lot of mental health issues for at least a little over a decade now. So I didn't know it was mental health issues until like I got to like my first year of high school. Um, but I definitely I have experience with like depression, like major depression. Back then it was I had first been diagnosed with like sundowners. So, and for those of you who don't know what that is, that's basically when the light goes away. When there's not a lot of sun, you're not getting enough vitamin D. That's when like your mood goes down, and it just it's. I mean, the name in itself is pretty kind of speaks for itself. Um, and then I've got PTSD and I had really bad social anxiety. It's not as bad now. It's pretty manageable. But yeah, and then I also deal with like insomnia a lot too. I think is that a mental illness? Is that I think
I mean, for me, I would classify it as part of the general symptoms of it, but I
yeah.
don't know. At the rate we're going after 2020, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
um, Another question I had for you regarding sundowners, correct? Is it also known as seasonal affective disorder too, or is that completely different?
Yeah, it's seasonal depression disorder. So STS. And wait, no, STD. Yeah, STD. And if I say it too fast, it sounds like I'm saying STD, which is not what I have. I'm
I hope not.
STD free.
Thank you for
I
being
better
with us.
be. I don't know how I caught it then. It must be airborne or something, because Lord knows I don't do enough.
I was thinking SSDD, same shit, different day, but we'll go with STD.
Yeah, let's go with that. Anyway. So but yeah, so I had been diagnosed with that after Sundowners back in like when I first like officially started going to a therapist, and they're like, yeah, so you probably have this, and I'm just like, oh, so it's a seasonal thing, cool. Spoiler, it was not. And it I still get it pretty bad though, like during the winter months. I still have my depression is gets more obvious, and it gets a little bit harder to deal with like during the winter months. So I have to like increase the dosage I take for my antidepressants. And speaking of that, we were talking about earlier before we started, I'm actually going, the next time I go and visit my doctor, we might be lowering my dosage back to a normal dose. So,
Oh yeah.
yay. So,
Yeah, that's always a good thing. Like I'm still pretty high up there with my dosage, and I don't know about coming down yet.
yeah. Well, my life right now, looking at it, is a little bit more fortunate than what your walk of life right now, which sucks. And
Yeah,
I'm
we will
trying to
not get
help.
into that today, people.
Yeah. That's a whole episode for the podcast by itself. So maybe two, I don't know. It's that's up to Jay's discretion.
Yeah, and even then Jay's going, abort the mission, repeat, abort the mission.
Abort.
So you mentioned too that you have PTSD. What kind of adversities did you face growing up with that? Like, was this something that you were diagnosed with when you were really little, or did you gradually get it?
I gradually got it. So mine kind of takes in the form, because I had to kind of explain like what how it manifested and where it came from, was back when I was a child. My parents fought a lot, and I'm sure you've heard the situation for a lot of parents fighting, loud yelling. And I have a brother who was 7 years older than I am, and my brother and my dad used to get into it a lot, and I saw how sometimes he would get pretty violent, not like physically, but very verbally and just mentally, just demeaning to my brother. And then some and for a while he kind of used that, like my brother, as an example of like a failure. And my brother's now like super successful, and he's got a really high paying job. He lives in Florida. He's got a family, and I mean, the man owns a Tesla. So yeah, he's not part of the 1%, because he's like, you know what, fuck billionaires.
I got
And
Tesla.
yeah. He says as he's riding in his Tesla. Anyway, he's like, I'm gonna be paying it off for the next 30 years. And I'm just like, ooh, that's rough, buddy. I'm like, that was your choice. So, but so like now, if my father has gotten a bit better with like tone control, and knows that if he starts like yelling, or if he raises his voice, it's going to, I hate using the word trigger because it's been so like overused in recent years, with it being like a meme word, like, oh, you triggered me. It's like, no, it's I can't think of another word to use that's accurate. And so like if someone like starts yelling very loudly and it's a very loud booming voice, and really it's mostly with like most male voices, is I'll just like completely shut down and I kind of go into like a catatonic state where I don't respond, I be quiet, and I just, I just kind of shut down and kind of go onto like power saving mode, I guess is like the kind of best way I can describe it, is just go into power saving mode and just wait until it's done, or try and find a quiet place where I can kind of decompress and kind of get back to my senses. And another thing that's with my PTSD, in which my therapist thinks, had previously thought that so I was like, I'm not comfortable around men, because when I was a child, really quick before I tell this, there is like a warning for like sexual like assault or things like that, right?
Mm, I mean,
In here.
people that listen to the podcast, yeah, it's I mean, I put this in the comments and I mentioned this before. When we go all in, we go all in, and anything goes.
Okay.
That whatever the guests want to share, they can share. So if you're comfortable with it, go ahead and share it. Because I firmly believe that the more we talk about these kind of situations and the more that we are open about it, it's going to help out more people. But again, it's up to
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm pretty much, I used to be like super like against talking about it, but I'm just like, yo, this happened. And if I saw the guy today, I'd beat the shit out of him. Anyway, not for my sake, but for somebody else's sake who got it worse than I did. Anyway, not that anyway. So back when I was around kindergarten age, so between like the ages of like 4 and 6, I was repeatedly exposed to my older brother's friend's genitalia without his knowledge, without like anybody's knowledge. And so I would be forced to like touch it and like rub them off and all that jazz, and it wasn't great, TM. So it was um it was not great during that time, and that's kind of like why I don't like, I'm not super comfortable with like guys that I that my gut feels is may pose a threat to me. So, and that's why I'm gay. No,
At least
one
you
of
can
my
get humor out
yeah,
of it.
yeah. So one of my coping mechanisms, and I feel like it might be a lot of people's coping mechanisms, is like to make a joke out of, their mental health or things that happened to them in the past. And I know that people who haven't experienced or gone through either those experiences or have had mental disorders or things like that, are just like, no, don't joke about that. It's like, listen, this is how we cope. And it does, just like have that kind of like super dark humor that some people really don't care for, but sometimes we have to kind of make a joke out of it for us to kind of accept it as it is what it was, and so we can move past it. And it's taken me, I mean, I'm 24, I just turned 24 last week. So it took a while for me to because when it initially happened, I didn't even realize what was going on. I didn't know that this was like something that was bad. I didn't realize that this was a form of sexual assault. And so it didn't really hit me hard until like my freshman year of high school. And like when we were learning like health class and stuff, and like, by the way, if this happens, this is what it means. And it just kind of like hit me like a brick wall, like, oh. And for the longest time, I went through bouts of like wanting to know why I felt like broken a little bit. Like, why am I always scared of guys? This is always going to be a thing. And this was before I realized that I like women and non-binary people, or basically anyone who does not have an attached dingling, I'm good with. Um,
Good way of putting it.
yeah, pretty much. So if it's silicone, awesome. If it's flesh and bone, I don't want it. Um, um, so I just it's and we actually did go to a trial in my sophomore year of high school, and he was sentenced to 5 years in jail, 10 years probation, and then he is forever notarized as he has to register as a sexual offender.
Oh.
So I think he actually got out a couple years ago. And when that first happened, I think it was like in 2018, 2019, it hit me really hard because like I was super scared of like what happened, like is he going to like come back out like after me? Does he know where I live? um and all that jazz, but hasn't made any attempt for communication, which is good because who I am now, who I am today, would punch the living shit out of him.
Good for her.
So yeah, good for her. Get fucked.
You're doing amazing,
So
sweetie.
you're doing amazing, sweetie. Keep going. So yeah, and sometimes I do get like a little bit like more so sometimes my PTSD manifest in like as overprotection, and so I'm like always super hyper vigilant. And especially if I'm with my sister, I have a twin sister. She's technically older than I am, by 3 minutes, but I'm taller, so it's fine. Um, so for the so like if I go into like a big open place where there's like a lot of uncertain variables, I kind of feel like I go into like a protector mode where I really don't have to. But that's just how my brain works. That's just how my body works. And, sometimes it can be exhausting, but, it's just the way I am, and I've learned to live with it. So.
Well, you're really brave for, not only going through all of that, but then to actually take your abuser to trial. I mean, a lot of people, they don't get that opportunity. How did it feel for you knowing that, he got his in the end with it?
It felt, I really wouldn't be able to remember how it felt because during that period of time. So a thing with my depression is that, and I think part of my PTSD is that I have repressed memories from like 7th grade until like the middle of my sophomore year of high school. I can remember bits and pieces here and there. Like I can tell you like specific events that happened, but like I have to think really hard and long about those events for me to accurately retell it. So I don't really remember super much about like taking him to trial. I remember sitting in front of a grand jury and telling them about it. And like, I can tell you, like, I was like it just happened today, where like my hands were cold and clammy. I was sweating a lot, but I didn't feel like I had any blood, like the blood in my veins had run cold, because, you know, this is a very personal and very harmful experience that had happened to me. And at that time, it had happened like a decade ago, when I was 14, 15 at this time. And when these events had taken place, it was a decade ago, between the ages of 4 and 6. So having to like accurately retell what happened in front of a group of strangers, um, and kind of tell them what happened and have them decide if I'm telling the truth, and if they decide to convict him, was very nerve-wracking. And I couldn't, for like the longest time, I was shaking the entire time. Like, my hands are kind of shaking right now, but that's not because I'm retelling the story. That's just because that's how my medicine makes me towards the end of the day. But like, you can kind of see in the
Yeah,
video, my hands are.
thank you for the warning. I was about to say, hey, if we need to change the topic, we can do that.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm Gucci. It's just because of the medication I'm taking. And I've also, Jay can see this, but I'm also drinking root beer. So that's also like a little bit of a sugar rush.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, at first I was like very angry because I got to see him like for the first time in like a long time. I think it was like 7 or 8 years since I had last seen him. And I was actually really surprised when I had seen him, because he was balding at the age of like 25.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was gross.
I mean, no offense to
So
people out there that have, balding issues, but in this case, ugh.
yeah, but in this very specific case, gross. but yeah, and during that entire time when we actually had to sit in the courtroom before the judge, my sister and I kind of huddled together and had we were holding each other's hands, and we were squeezing extremely tight, to the point where our knuckles turned white. So yeah, that's what I remember about that experience. And that's why I really don't like going to the courthouse anymore.
I can't blame you for that. Not one bit, hon.
Yeah, and of course, when I had kind of sidetracking a little bit, but like that's when I had when I first turned 18, like right before I was turning 19, I got summoned, and I was part of a grand jury for 2 months. It was great. I hated every minute of it.
Yeah, it's like that meme. Thanks, I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it.
You
Or
have
like
more.
that dog meme where you're just sitting in the fire, just this is fine.
Yep.
I relate to that meme a lot.
That would probably be me too if that was my case.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but I mean, thank you for sharing that, because that's very powerful to hear that, because a lot of people, they go silent for years at a time. Um, like, even I'll speak a little bit about mine. I was sexually abused around the time I was 5 years old, and it lasted up until I was about 10, I want to say, roughly around that age. And my family, nobody knew about it until I was in my 20s. I mean,
Wow.
it's just amazing how much stuff, like survivors like us, how we keep that and internalize it. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you too, in terms of your mental health, like, because you mentioned the PTSD kind of came about gradually from yelling and whatnot. Did the abuse that happened to you also contribute to that, would you say?
I would say so. Yeah, maybe a little bit because I'm not super well informed about PTSD. Um, Thanks, American school system. Um,
Yeah, fuck you very much.
yeah, fuck you very much and our limited knowledge that you allow us to learn. Um, but like I get very like I'm okay with certain like being around for like the longest time. Like I was saying earlier, I thought I was like broken. I really didn't like guys and I didn't like them touching me, and every time like um someone like because I got bullied a lot too in middle school and in high school um growing up, and that's why I have repressed memories. um so I had so I just didn't so like anytime like a guy like a male bully would like say something mean or derogatory towards me, I got like extremely angry. Like I just felt this like welt of rage just burn through me, and I didn't know what to do. And I wouldn't like take it out on them, but like I would carry that rage with me for a long time.
Mm.
And it just gave me a very negative outlook on men and just how they act and how they are. And growing up, you're not really taught like how to deal with that kind of like aggression unless it's like to an extreme point. And unfortunately with our school system and like really not being that great in general, and where I live, our school system's even worse, which is not great. And like really people only like teachers and school faculty really only see like heightened aggression. They only really look for it in the male students, but not in the female students, because female students are usually the only thing you have to worry about them is getting dress coded. And if they're showing too much of if their bra or if their spaghetti strap is too small or whatever the fuck it is. um so that went unchecked for a while. And when I had started seeing my therapist and telling her about it, she would tell me, like lay it out, like this is why it is and what's going on. And this is probably why you feel this kind of rage towards men, is because it's your PTSD acting up, and that's a defense mechanism of yours. So I still kind of get that way a little bit, not as bad as before. So take it from someone who like anyone who's listening who's like had like their nails like bite into the palms of their hands from being so enraged, because just like this unknown rage that's coming from seemingly nowhere. It's a defense mechanism. It does happen. It's normal. Well, not really normal, but it's an outlet for you to get out that huge wealth of emotion, and and find a really healthy, easy way to get that emotion out by, like, I don't know, going into the woods and screaming somewhere. You might make up a new cryptid in your local area, which is cool. Um, or go for a drive. That was one of my that's what helped me a lot. As soon as I got my driver's license, I would go on long drives. And I think the longest drive I've done um to calm down from that anger, to really process like either the argument that I had or trying to figure out like what I was angry about, was like 2 hours long.
Mm.
So, and sometimes, you just have to go out for a drive, obviously be careful, be safe. If you don't feel like you can drive safely by yourself, ask a friend to drive you or ask a friend to join you for a drive. And sometimes I still have to go out for drives and like figure out what's going on and process what's either making me anxious or making me angry. And most of the time, sometimes I'll go alone, but other times I will ask my sister to come and join me. So that way, because I value her insight on like what other ways, like, so this is what I'm feeling, and then she'll kind of be like a sounding board and let me vent. And then she can, if I she's really good about asking, like, do you want me to just sit here and listen, or do you want me to be here and so when you're done venting to kind of put it into another perspective that you might not have seen before. And I really value her for that, because just having someone who's like that and willing to do that for you and seeing them pretty much like at your worst, and then still like caring enough to, be like, and give you advice or just to sit there and listen is really invaluable. So, and if you don't have someone like that, then find yourself good friends. Or I'm sure Jay will like um put my art Instagram in there.
Oh,
And
totally.
yeah, message me if you need to vent. Let me know. I'm your mom now.
I was actually about to say a little bit earlier, Quinn, where the fuck were you when I needed you for my PTSD rage issues? Because goddamn, that was something I struggled with so bad. And it's been within the last like 5 years or so, I've like gotten a handle of it, and I feel like, wow, I don't want to like go out and kill people anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. For a while, we actually had a punching bag in our backyard, and we sold it eventually. And I was so mad when we sold it. I'm just like, are you kidding me? That was the way I could get my aggression out in like a super healthy way. I say as I pin like a picture of somebody's face that I dislike very much and punch it. Listen, so long as it's not hurting a living, breathing human being, you're fine. Okay.
Hey, that's
Just burn the evidence later.
yeah,
Okay.
Hakuna Matata.
Yep.
So that brings me to the other question, because you mentioned your sister a lot, how she was, like your rock, somebody that you really leaned on. How important was it for you with your mental health and given everything that you were going through? How important was it to have family and friends and potentially community? Like, did that do anything for you, or was it just your sister that really helped you out?
In the beginning, because when these issues and these mental disorders and things come about, you really don't know what's going on, because it might just be like all of a sudden like a sudden drop in your iron or a sudden drop in your vitamin D intake. So growing up, it was really hard to understand what was going on. I didn't know if it was like like a behavior disorder or something along those lines. And my sister and I actually used to be at each other's throats growing up. And that's kind of like what happens when you have siblings, especially when you're the same fucking age and having to say to share the same bedroom for 14 fucking years. A lot of the pent up aggression happens, and we just had screaming matches a lot. Um, but then when she had kind of found out in high school, when I had officially like started going to therapy regularly, I went every week and started taking medications. Um, I had, and trying to deal with it, she kind of like realized what was going on. Um, it helps that at that time, during that time period, we finally had our own rooms. So we weren't constantly at each other's throats, not as much at least. Um, but like her and I would kind of like talk about it a little bit. Not so much then, but a lot now. She is really important to me, and I love her to bits. and I'm gonna get a little bit teary-eyed.
It's all
I'm
good.
I'm okay to continue and stuff, but she is she puts in things into a lot of perspective. She's like she's read up on like mental health issues and like how to help and stuff, and um it's just really nice because having someone is not going to like, because I know like a concern for some people is if is like telling authorities about your situation, which makes it worse,
Mm-hmm.
or like suggests you to be hospitalized without actually trying to like really help, um sucks. But having someone who's like actually there for you and kind of just I kind of describe her like a very grounding feeling. Like for me, something that really grounds me and brings me like nostalgia and brings in like not happiness, but like brings me a sense of ease and calm is like the smell of a campfire or the heat of a campfire, because I grew up camping a lot and I love camping. Um, and she kind of emulates that, but like as a person. And she just has this really soft way of speaking, and like just like having like a hand to hold. And I don't know how many times where I've like texted her in the middle of the night. I'm like, hey, can I call you? And she just, no questions asked, she'll call me right after I send that text and be like, yo, what's up? Are you okay? And, I think it's really important to have at least one person who can be that for you. Obviously, don't like abuse that kind of relationship, because that's not good for you, and that's certainly not good for the person who is being that person for you. um so like setting up boundaries is very important, and be like, yo, I need to talk to you about something, and they're like, hey, I don't have enough spoons to deal with this right now, can we talk about it tomorrow? That's really important, because if person A is not feeling great and person B is not feeling great, then who's driving the fucking car?
Yeah, you don't want to Thelma and Louise it.
Yeah. So yeah, let's not bring a pop song into this.
Well, if there's anything we can take from what you said, it's be nice to your campfire, don't douse it with water, but also don't turn it into a forest fire.
Yes, exactly. Keep on adding some logs and help nurture that relationship. Sometimes I know my live relationship with my sister came a little bit easier because we're related. We see each other often. But if you have like an online friend or someone who like lives in your area who's a friend of yours, it can be a little bit difficult to build up that relationship. But it really is like a gut feeling of, okay, I can trust this person, because believe it or not, 99% of the time your gut is right.
That's well
So
said. Well said.
mhm. There is that 1% where you just eat a really bad taco from Taco Bell, and then that's just
And then you're shit out of luck.
yeah, and then really you are. Especially if you run out of toilet paper from either A, wiping your tears, or B, wiping your butt.
That or some asshole, like raided the whole section at Walmart.
Not again.
Happy 2021, guys.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, so you covered like quite a bit. And again, thank you too for sharing like how to go about finding your person in a way to help you cope with that. Um, so I guess another something I was thinking about where you were talking is what would you say to somebody that um, maybe younger or that's in your position, right? Where they're dealing with PTSD or they're dealing with an abuse or anything like that. What would you tell them to help them get through that?
I would say, find someone who like reach out really is the best thing that you can do. Either reach out to that really cool coworker that you really talk to a lot, reach out to that friend who still keeps into contact with you over the years, reach out to that one family member who always makes a point in talking to you during reunions or whenever you go to a family gathering. Reach out because it's a hard first step. It really is, but it does get easier with making that first step. If you, especially if that person, that family member, that friend, that coworker is like, hey, you know, if you need anything, if anything happens, let me know,
Mm,
and you know, it's and you do have to be a little bit prepared for rejection, which is sad, but it's reality. And sometimes, and maybe that person who you reached out to is maybe going through the same issues that you're going through, but um, reach out to someone. To either reach out to a professional online or someone in your area if you're able to. And if, like I said, if you have that one friend who's kept into contact with you over the years, who just always makes a point to like say hi, like every once in a while, reach out because they 9 times out of 10 they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's awful, do you need me to, how can I help? And that's the second step, is explaining like why you need help. You do not have to go into depth, and I think that's what a lot of people are like scared about, is like going into depth with what the issue is. If you explain it, say, hey, I really don't feel comfortable explaining what the situation is going on. Um, Basically, shit hit the fan. I'm not in a good place. Um, is it possible that you can like call me and talk on the phone for a bit? Or if you yourself are not a huge talker, but work are more comfortable with someone just like using you as a sounding board, and hearing them talk about like their day, some mundane tasks, or something like a book they've been reading lately, that that can help you like chill out, calm down, and kind of like, okay, so this is what's going on. I'm in this situation. I need help. Do you know of anyone? And if they're like a far away person who's like an online friend, who's I know you had Kay on like the first episode, and they live all the way in Europe, you know.
yeah.
Like, hey, do you know of anybody in this area that is able to help? Or hey, can you I'm physically and mentally unable to like search people for people who are able to help me in my area, can you please help me out? And it's, like I said, it's a hard first step, but that first step goes a long way.
Yeah, well spoken on that. And something too that I'm going to mention to viewers is that at some point I'm going to compile like a list of resources that people can connect to, especially if you're going through a rough time, just numbers and what have you. So eventually that's going to be popping up, but that's one homework assignment at a time for me. But yeah, Quinn, that was again, well spoken, well said. I love that you touched up on not only keeping yourself safe, but making sure that you're not pouring too much from your own cup to help out, somebody else, or vice versa. I kind of want to go back just a little bit because, I mean, you know that I use humor as a coping mechanism for a lot of my bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, obviously. Um,
Uh-huh.
for you, when did you discover that humor was your medicine?
I really didn't discover it so much as my doctor being like, you're deflecting a lot of things by making me laugh. Stop. And I'm just like, I didn't realize I'm doing that. I'm sorry. So sometimes it's not super cut and dry that you realize you're doing it because it's it's a subconscious action that you're doing to protect yourself. It's a built-in coping mechanism that just happens. And oh, excuse me. And not all excuse me, goodness, I'm sorry. I've been drinking diet root beer this entire time. So if you hear little erps or burps, I'm sorry.
She
And
said
if
she
you
was a
like,
cryptid,
yeah, I
didn't she?
did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I'm a bathtub cryptid, and I don't know what the hell you are, but you're awesome.
something, I don't know. But um it's like some coping mechanisms are really unhealthy, and one of them that I was kind of hoping to touch on during this episode was like self-harm. And I did used to self-harm quite a bit. I'm actually going on 8 years, I think. I don't remember. Hold on.
Either way,
Oh, I think it's
applause.
7. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I actually have a tattoo I have 2 tattoos to represent this. The first one I ever got, I actually got it on my birthday when I turned 18. As soon as I got off, I think I was either I had left school to go and get this tattoo, or it was a weekend. And I just walked in and I'm just like, hey, is anybody available to get a tattoo done? And they actually had a guest artist who had just had a cancellation, and he's like, yo, what's up? What can I do for you? Um, and so I explained what I wanted for him, and what I wanted to him, and he's like, okay, let me see what I can whip up. And he whipped it up in like 15 minutes, and then I got it tattooed. And to kind of like describe it, because I know people are just like shouting in the comments, are like, what's the tattoo fucking look like? It's nothing fancy. And I'll show it to Jay. So it's not like super fancy. So it has the word still, and then in the middle it's got like a heartbeat, and then it goes into a heart. I know, very basic, very 2015ish, but listen, I turned 18 in 2015, so that's why I got it. Okay. And then underneath that says beating. So my heart is still beating, meaning I'm still alive, I'm still kicking. And I have another tattoo to commemorate not doing any form of self-harm for 2 years, and that's on my shoulder here. And it's a little dragon design that I had actually found on Google.
It still looks
And
legit.
it does. It looks really cool. It's old, but I still love it a lot. And basically I'd been asked, when I had gotten that tattoo, I had been asked, why are you getting this tattoo? Is there any meaning behind it? Which, by the way, you don't have to get a meaning behind every single tattoo. You can have as many cool ass tattoos because you think, you know what? I like UFOs. I'm gonna get a UFO tattoo because I've done it. I've got a UFO tattoo. It's currently covered by a band-aid because I got vaccinated today. Um, so yeah, but it's like, it's celebrating the little things to like help with that. But like, going back to like what kind of forms of self-harm that I did, I used to like cut my wrists very lightly, so there's no scar marks on my wrists. but I do have residual scar tissue on the bottom of my right foot. Because I thought during that time, I didn't deserve, if I was going to, walk this earth, then I didn't, deserve to live. And this was when I was going through, I was going through like very deep, dark thoughts, and I was suicidal. And I had, was just tearing up the bottom of my right foot. And to this day, it's still healing. It doesn't hurt anymore. It hasn't hurt for years now. But don't fuck up your foot, please, for the love of God, don't. But like during that time, my mentality was, if I'm going to live, and if I have the audacity to live, then I'm going to make sure I hurt every time I walk. And which is not great, by the way.
It's not
0 out of
great,
10.
but it's kind of badass sounding. I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks. I'm like, no one can know what I'm doing. I was like very emo. I was like, nobody can know what I'm doing. If I wear long sleeves, people will know what I'm doing. I know a great way to cover this up. So yeah, my right foot's a little bit jacked up. So I mean, I can still walk on it. I can, still do everything that I have full motion of my foot and everything. But for a while, I've got some scars on it, and luckily the bottom of your feet shed quite often, so 90% of it's gone.
Yay.
So yay. But yeah, it wasn't great. But I stopped that aspect. I stopped at like when I was 16, 17. And the last time that I did like put a blade to my arms was like 17. Yeah, because I had gone 6 months without doing any kind of show of harm on me when I got my first tattoo when I turned 18.
Well, it sounds like getting tattoos is very therapeutic for you.
It is. It's I know, like, if you can be a little bit too because I know some people are just like, you can get addicted, like, quote unquote, you can get addicted to the needle, and that's like inciting like the pain that getting a tattoo causes. And sometimes people turn that into a negative point for getting a tattoo. It's like, well, you didn't get this tattoo so you could have a cool piece of artwork on your body, or it has some deeper meaning. You got this tattoo on your body because you wanted to punish yourself. And so that's why, if to any listeners out there, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, like I said earlier, it doesn't have to have a deeper meaning. It doesn't have to like hold this like really cool thing about you. It doesn't have to. And 100% it can. But make sure you're getting that tattoo for the right reasons. Like, I really like this really cool piece of artwork, or, oh, there's a flash tattoo sale going on, and they've got like one design that I really like, and I've been wanting to get a tattoo. Just fucking go for it. Get that $50 tattoo. I got my my tattoo. I have a little UFO that's on my arm. Like I said, it's currently covered by a Band-Aid. I got it at a flash sale, tattoo sale up in Eugene, Oregon. And I'm just like, yeah, can I? They're like, okay, cool. You want the UFO? Yep. Do you want any colors? Yes, I want purple. Okay. And now I have a purple UFO on my arm. It's like about the size of like a quarter or 50-cent piece. Yeah, more so of a 50-cent piece. And if anyone of you who are listening who don't know what that is, you're young, please Google it. You make me feel old. But I've got 4 tattoos in total, 2 of which have meaning, and one of which I got because I like UFOs, I like aliens, and the other one I got actually in 2019. Was it in 2019? Yes, it was in 2019 because it was before COVID, before Australia starting to burn down. I have this really cool crow design on my upper right thigh, and it took 5 hours to do. It hurt like a son of a bitch, but I love it. And I love the way it looks. I love the art. I love the artist who did it. And that was $400 well spent.
Yeah, so guys, those of you that get your stimmy today, first off, I'm jealous. And secondly, go get a tattoo. It's good for your mental health.
Commemorate your commitment to self-care. Commemorate your commitment to no longer self-harm. Commemorate your commitment to take care of yourself.
Yes, Queen.
Even if you're wanting to get like a little semicolon tattoo as to continue, your chapter, or a lyric that really resonates you from a song that you listen to when shit gets rough, or if it's like something stupid like a tiny little UFO tattoo, get it done, because it's, like I said earlier, it's the silver linings in life that sometimes you really only have to hold on to. And I can't tell you how many times, like, looking at my tiny little ass fucking rinky dink piece of shit UFO tattoo. It's actually really well done. It's not really rinky dink. I really love how it looks. But sometimes it's like you look at that and it just brings a smile to your face. So it's like the small things in life can really like brighten up your day. And I know for some of you who are just like super depressed and not having like a really good day and not thinking this shit's gonna get better, it is gonna get better. And sometimes, eventually, that little semicolon tattoo, that butterfly on your wrist, I don't know, angel wings, I don't know, I don't even care, get a heartbeat tattoo that says still beating on it. I don't give a damn. Get something that can put a smile to your face, something that you can either be proud of or you just think is funny. Please, the only thing I ask, please do not get dick butt tattooed onto you. And if you don't know what dick butt is, please don't look it up, because then you'll be like, I'm gonna get it tattooed out of spite. Please don't.
Oh God, Jay does not endorse that. Jay endorses tattoos, but not that.
If you want something stupid and funny like that, get made in China tattooed on your ass, okay? Do that, okay? That's fine, but not dick butt. Please, for the love of God.
I might have to end this early. I have a tattoo appointment to make because that was amazing.
And hold on, I gotta call my tattoo artist. Hey, can you like tattoo made in China on my ass in like the really standard font? Yeah? Okay, cool. See you tomorrow at 5.
Oh, so that brings us into our last, hopefully not my last breath. Jesus Christ, I don't want to die laughing.
I would miss you too much, Jay.
Hey, likewise. Oh, you can contact me via Ouija board. We're good.
I don't fuck with Ouija boards. I'll astral project myself into the ethereal plane.
Okay, I can work with that.
All right, cool.
So we got. This is a serious podcast. I swear to God. No, not really. No, it's not.
You got to bring a little bit of dopamine and serotonin into the all bit of sadness. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Especially if your brain doesn't make enough.
Yes. If you don't, I said this earlier, if you don't have enough dopamine or serotonin, store-bought is fine.
I mean, you got to help that little neuron going, I'm trying to carry it. I'm doing my best.
It's basically like giving your neurons like a Red Bull for like 5 hours straight. And like Red Bull after Red Bull after Red Bull. It's great, honestly. I don't want to die daily, so I'm counting my blessings with that.
I feel like my little serotonin and dopamine neurons, they're like that ant from A Bug's Life. that takes one look at the leaf and is like, I'm lost.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, so we have about a few more minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close off?
Not really. I mean, kind of. So again, I want to reiterate, you know, shit sucks, you know, depression sucks, anxiety sucks, um, having mental disorders and things like that fucking bites. All right. But I know you're probably sick of hearing it, of seeing it online, whether it be Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, I don't fucking know. 4chan, please don't be on 4chan. But but it does get better. It takes a long time. Sometimes it takes longer for others than it does for maybe you personally. I mean, I'm like I said earlier, I'm 24 now. I'm still dealing with this. I'm still on medication. I am unable to function without medication. So it's if someone tells you it's a crush or a crutch, let me know. I'll fly over to where you are and I will kick the shit out of them. All right.
Jay vouches for that.
Yeah. But literally, and don't be afraid to reach out. Please don't be afraid to reach out. You know, there's hundreds of them that you literally just need to Google the self-help line, talk with someone about how you're feeling. And if you're not comfortable with talking about how it feels with someone, write it down, talk to yourself, either visualize it and put it into a painting or a poem or some form of some kind of something to cope with it in a healthy way. And sometimes I know for me, it helps to do it in a creative way. So that way I can see what happens. And sometimes, hey, you will either get a really cool piece of art that you really like and it will resonate with others. Other times you'll be like, you know what, this is a piece of shit and you'll burn it in the fire next time. You know, it's your prerogative. You know, it's up to your discretion, but reach out. And, you know, you're not weak for having to reach out. You're not weak for feeling like this. You're not broken. You've got a crack. And sometimes you need somebody to help hold you together while you apply the super glue. You know, it is what it is. Sometimes it sucks. No, I lied. It really does suck like 90% of the time. But if you have at least one person who really cares about you and you just know would miss you if you were to take that final step, not saying that you should live for someone else, absolutely not. If thinking about that helps you get past that point, go ahead, but live for yourself. I like to live out of spite for people. That's how I graduated high school. That's how I got my driver's license. That's how I got my last couple of jobs was out of spite. So sometimes it doesn't have to be a positive motivation for you to push through what you're going through. It's okay to be like, you know what, fuck the world, fuck everything I'm feeling right now. I'm going to push through out of pure spite, just to, like, in spite of this one person, whether it be a parent who hasn't been there, a relative who just sends you like mean, nasty comments, a coworker or a boss who's like, you're never going to amount to anything. Do it out of spite for them, because I at least know for me, spite is a huge motivator. And because it's like, all right, you know what? It's kind of like that oh, what is it called? I know scientists did like a test of like, you know how when someone tells you to do something but you were already going to do it?
Oh, that. I
Yeah,
took
that.
psychology. I should know. I was a psychology major. I should know what the hell this is, but I don't.
If somebody knows what that is, please leave us a comment, send us a message, let us know what it is. Um, but like you suddenly get unmotivated to do it. You're like, I'm not going to do it out of spite now. It's that same feeling. So if someone's like, you know what, you're not going to amount to anything, you're going to be worthless, yada, 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 be like, you know what, fuck you. I am going to make something out of myself, even if, even if it takes you a while and, you become a happier, more, just a better version of yourself through it, then you've literally just given them the middle finger and just like just you know you pave your own way for success and joy and happiness. And keep in mind, I've never heard of depression ever being like 100% fully cured. um you know but so you will have down days, but there's sometimes you just gotta sit back and close your eyes, smell the campfire smoke, roast some marshmallows,
Find your campfire.
find your campfire. This podcast's quote of the day is find your campfire.
Oh man. Speaking of tattoos and wanting to get that, I want to get that tattooed now. Shit.
Oh, same, dude.
Oh, dude. Crap. Well, see me after the podcast.
All right, cool.
So we're gonna wrap this up. Quinn, thank you so much for taking the time to be on here and to talk to me and just be so damn open and so advocating for mental health. This was great. This was a great conversation. I loved having you on here. And for those of you that are
Yeah.
listening, oh yeah, you're so welcome. um, and for those of you that would love to be on the podcast, you can contact me at any time. The messages on the podcast show should be up. I also have my Twitter there if you want to DM me, and we can set up a schedule and a time to just kick back and talk about mental health. And also too, if you would kindly consider supporting me. I'd like to be able to interview more people from all walks of life. So yeah, you'd be doing me a huge favor. Again, we had the lovely Quinn. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.